Hi, I'm Alexis, and this is a quick run-through of the boss mechanics on normal and heroic difficulty for Muggsy, Hands of Security, a two-headed boss in Liberation of Undermine, the raid released in Season 2 of The War Within. Before we start, please consider leaving a like and subscribe. It'll help my channel grow and I'll be able to put out more content more often. The boss area is split into two zones, one with brown tiles where Mug is in control, and another with grey metal flooring where Z is in control, with each head having its own abilities. During the first phase, you need to move the boss from one side to another before he reaches 100 energy. This will change which head is in control and reset the energy levels. If you don't, the boss will cast Double-Minded Fury and wipe the raid. When the majority of players are on the brown side, the boss will cast Elemental Carnage, which means that players will have to deal with Mug's abilities. This ability leaves a debuff, which damages players over time, and this affects stacks. Two players are targeted with these brown circles, which will eventually spawn earthen chambers, locking any players inside. Do not overlap these, and tanks keep the boss outside of the circle. Be sure that some DPS and a healer are in each chamber. An earth elemental spawns in each chamber. Players inside need to quickly defeat them before exiting the chambers, or they will enrage and increase damage and attack speed by 500%. In the meantime, they damage players and will cast Pay Respects, an interruptible cast which gives Muggsy a damage absorb shield, so make sure you interrupt this. When defeating the ad, it will explode, damaging all players and knocking them back. Stand with your back to the wall to break it and exit. Other abilities you'll need to watch out for: Frost Shatter Boots. Random players get frosted, damaged, and slide when running. On Heroic, you'll have an arrow which eventually locks in place, and the boss launches a lethal spear at players. Aim these arrows at the chamber walls or at the ads and go behind them to avoid getting hit. Storm Fury Finger Gun is the boss frontal. Avoid standing in it. The frontal also gives random players this electric circle. Keep moving out to avoid getting damaged. Molten King Knuckles is the tank mechanic. Mug hits the target with a frontal of molten gold and lava. The tank gets covered in a golden drip, and running leaves behind molten gold pools and slowly removes the drip. Try to run close to the edge of the room, cause the pools linger around for 3 minutes, and running over them will damage you. If the drip isn't removed in 12 seconds, the tank will be turned into solid gold, stunning them for 30 seconds. When all players run to the other side, the boss will cast Uncontrolled Destruction, where Z will now take charge and the energy levels get reset. Players are now affected with Uncontrolled Burn, a fire debuff damaging players over time, and this affects stacks. MK Electroshockers spawn, shooting electricity at random players, which then jumps to up to 3 other players. This damage increases by 10% every time it jumps from player to player. Get these down to 80% health to stun them, and this increases their damage taken by 100% for 8 seconds. Be sure to prioritize these ads. Unstable Crawler Mines fixate on random players, which explode when coming into contact with them. These mines are immune to damage, but can be CC'd and slowed down. However, when they reach 100 energy, their speed is increased by 200% and will become immune to crowd control effects. Players need to pop these mines with Double Whammy Shot. This mechanic is the red beam, which targets a random player, which leaves a damage debuff for 45 seconds, which can be fatal. The tank needs to go in front of the player to take on the damage himself. The player that was initially targeted will then get a large red circle. Run over the mines with this to detonate them. The mines can also be popped by any other players. Keep in mind to use a defensive. On Heroic, the player triggering the mine will get increased damage from each mine they pop. Also on Heroic, popping the mine will make it explode into a cluster of bombs which need to be absorbed. Not absorbing this will inflict double the damage to the raid, which can be fatal. Spray and Pray is the boss frontal. Avoid getting hit. Goblin Guided Rocket. A random player gets targeted with this large fiery circle. At least 5 players need to get in to help absorb the damage. This leaves behind a fiery mess, which damages any players that don't get out. A volunteer rocketeer jumps out of the explosion. He will jump at random players and fires beams, which damages players, and the beam's damage increases by 100% each second, so quickly defeat these guys. On Heroic, Soaking leaves a radiation sickness debuff, which increases damage taken from soaking by 500% for 3 minutes, so take turns when soaking. Keep switching from one side to another, and when the boss reaches 40% health, the intermission phase is triggered. The boss will target a player and rush towards them, and then start spinning on the spot, zapping red and blue electricity on the sides. Just avoid getting hit. As a bonus, this also destroys any walls or mines left behind. He'll do this dash and spin about 3 times. After the intermission phase, both heads will continue to work together and will use both of their abilities at the same time. Save your bloodlust for this part, cause it's gonna be a bit chaotic with all the mechanics going off together. So just do all of the mechanics and DPS hard until the boss is defeated. And that's how you defeat Mugsy, Heads of Security. I hope you found this video useful. Give it a like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe. Be sure to check out my other guides. Good luck on your raid adventures, and thank you for watching.